Are live now. Okay. Welcome everyone to episode 7 of The Leftovers. Got a lot of. Actually, we're going to keep this one short, but we have a lot of small topics. So, I want to start with Star Citizen, or why don't you do with your Battlefield? You played Battlefield, right? 2042 question. Uh,
Yeah, I played the open
the
beta.
beta, whatever, I'm mixing words now. I pressed the button. Yeah, so how was the new Battlefield game? You're telling me a little bit about
Yeah, so performance-wise, it was pretty good. My system is nowhere near current gen, so it ran fine on medium to medium high settings. It looked pretty. In terms of gameplay, though, it felt way too much like Call of Duty Warzone. Everybody moves really, really fast. Time to kill felt decent, as in it was pretty quick. You didn't have to waste a whole clip to kill one person, but I don't know, the move speed is just, too arcadey. Um, the vehicles felt pretty good. I was impressed with the vehicle physics, like, driving around, that was fun. Helicopters, they felt okay, way heavier than, in previous Battlefield games, but overall, though, the gameplay was just too fast and arcadey for me, so I am really interested to see how the other, game modes work,
right because they
and,
only showed one game mode, right?
yeah, it was, just like a conquest map. I didn't actually get in the tornado that spawns, but I've seen some people get in it, and, in terms of gameplay, I don't think it really offers much. It's interesting, like, once or twice, but after that, it's just, whatever. It's a tornado. You can do things with it, but it doesn't really affect the map or the game or anything like that much. It certainly wasn't as deadly as I expected it to be. You would expect that you just get picked up and flung around, but um, it just it was kind of my overall impression was just kind of meh.
You think it's going to be any good at launch? Because again, this game got delayed to November. What the hell was it? We covered like talked about it last, but whatever. It got pushed back a month, and I know it's a beta demo, whatever. But I mean, how often is it that a AAA game actually fixes all the major bugs plaguing one of these betas?
Part of the reason for beta is just to see more problems than you're aware of, or stress tests and get player feedback and stuff like that. Um, whether or not it's going to be good when it launches, I don't know. It's definitely going to be a wait and see in terms of buying for me, if I decide to get it at all. But I'm fine with them pushing it back if there's things they need to work on and get fixed. I have no problem with that. I mean, I play Star Citizen, so I'd rather
Yeah, right.
games be as close to finish as they can be, and if that means I have to wait for it, then I'm fine with that. The whole idea of people getting angry because games get delayed, I don't understand the argument really.
I think it's a good thing when the game itself gets delayed. I just don't. It depends on how much it gets improved because of that delay. Yeah,
Yeah,
the game was
the thing
delayed,
is,
but they should have delayed it even further, not just a month or so. I was getting at.
the thing is with delays, we don't really know why they're delaying it. The
No,
developers
in
do.
this case, we don't know. Did they? I heard that they towed down a lot of the destructible environments.
Yeah, I don't think much of the buildings. I don't think you couldn't blow them up. Like the walls were pretty solid. There were some things around the map that would kind of take damage and explode, but it's not like you're wrecking buildings down to their base or collapse and things like that. The only thing that really blows up big was the rocket they had there, and I'm not even sure it would kill people if they were on the platform around it. Um, it looked cool when it exploded, but other than that, I'm not really sure what it did to the level, if anything, other than look interesting.
What about tanks and other vehicles, or do you not try those yet?
I didn't mess with the tank. The ground vehicles, like I said, I driving them around was pretty fun. The way they interact with the ground, it felt surprisingly realistic. Well, I say realistic, but not arcade like GTA 5. They were based on like physics and momentum and stuff like that.
What about the gunplay itself?
Gunplay was pretty good. The ability to switch attachments and stuff like that on the fly was, in some ways, it's a nice addition, but in other ways it isn't because part of the reason that you would pick the stuff that you want is for the area that you're going in. So your kit matters. The way they've got it set up now, it doesn't matter what you decide to pick because you can just change it on the fly or on a whim or whatever. So in some ways, it kind of, what am I trying to say here? Makes everything kind of generic feeling, I guess, because your choices don't matter as much anymore.
All right, because like, oh, I made a mistake in this match. I had to learn from next time. You can just change that on the fly.
Yeah, to me, I guess I don't like having every single option available to you at every point of the game because then your choices, I mean, what you decide to equip or whatever, it doesn't really matter. You just, oh well, yeah, I'm just going to change it right now, and then it it dilutes the gameplay a little bit, in my opinion. I guess i- it's not as diluted as it could be because you can't just switch your weapons on the fly unless you're killing people and picking up their guns, but I don't know what it was a beta, so the UI wasn't finished. There were several UI elements that were not in the game during the beta, like the overall map, and the UI looked pretty rough, in my opinion.
I saw screenshots, and it's like this blue all over the place.
Yeah, it reminded me a
On
lot of Battlefield 3, and or was it 4? I don't know. I think it might have been 4 where they just had the blue contrast and everywhere.
like that
But
sick, like literally not cool sick, but like that sickening looking blue all over.
yeah, they had like a blue filter tied onto everything. I'm not sure why. There was actually a mod that you could get that would take it off and it made the game look completely different and better, in my opinion.
Yeah, I was gonna say I hate when they do those type of filters. Halo 4 had that where it's like there was always a constant like lighting filter on your HUD,
Yeah.
so like you were never actually seeing like the environment as how it really was and everything. The game itself had a filter and it sucked.
So my biggest problem was it's just the game. Like you get everything too quick. You don't really have to think about much. It's just you spawn somewhere, you run around, you go from point A to point B. The only reason you try to cap flags is for points. As soon as you cap it, there's no defending. It's just all forward motion, attack, 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 run, run, run. There's not lot of, at least in the beta, people aren't really working together as a squad. I don't know if they had any voice comms in game. I didn't try it, but I never heard anybody trying to use uh, VoIP or anything like that. And there was no text communication that I saw in the game, so you couldn't talk to anybody really. Um, I mean, the reason I don't play Warzone is specifically because it's basically just run and gun. It's really fast movements. You're crouching, you're sliding, bouncing around. It's not milsim to me. It's just arcade. And I mean, arcade is okay, but Battlefield used to be different, and I feel like it's changed now to be more like Warzone is, and I don't really find that gameplay that much fun anymore. Maybe it's because I'm getting older, but
Yeah, I mean I've heard a lot of people saying that where it's like Battlefield is becoming the new Call of Duty. Call of Duty slowly becoming more Battlefield.
I think they're just slowly merging to be generic copies of each other
Yeah.
with
No,
subtle
that's my point. Like
differences,
they're
but
they're copying their older cells, and it's
this is all based on beta, and there's potential that things could change drastically. Was it you that posted an article that EA are thinking about changing the operators, the way that the game works with operators and
maybe.
stuff? I saw that somewhere. I didn't actually read the article, and I don't know if it's true or not, but I guess they've got some feedback saying that people don't like the way the operators are set up. So I don't know. That might be why they decided to delay it because they want to go back and review some of their design choices. But um, for me, it's a wait and see. I got burned many times on pre-orders for other games, so I'm not really interested in pre-ordering. And
You should never pre-order anyways. It's a bad idea.
the pre-order bonus that you get with all the previous battle games was just complete BS because if you wanted all the extra content, you would have to purchase their premium, which included the pre-order bonus that you got anyway. So you're basically wasting money with pre-orders.
Not to mention the fact that pre-ordering is never really a good idea.
Yeah, and I don't care about skins or special what looking weapons or any crap like that. Honestly, I'm kind of disappointed that I didn't play the World War III beta because I saw some gameplay from it, and it looks very similar to kind of the way Battlefield plays. But I don't know. In some
Which
ways, I
one?
think it might be more like Battlefield used to be than Battlefield
Which
is now.
which game?
It's called World War III.
Yeah.
It's been out in pre-release for quite a while, but I don't think they've done anything on it for like a year, and they just released an update. I think that the beta test play is over now, but they drastically changed the way the game played, and yeah, I'm kind of disappointed that I didn't play it because I wasn't aware of it at the time.
I know. I have you played Enlisted? Because that's more Battlefield
Yeah,
than Battlefield today.
yeah, I have played Enlisted. It was interesting, but the grind is just too much for me.
Oh, the menu alone was a nightmare.
Yeah, it's pretty confusing. It's fun to just play around with, to have
Yeah,
fun with.
the highlight of it is the actual gameplay when you're in a match. Everything
Yeah,
else,
the idea with the bots, I think, was pretty. It was interesting. It's kind of fun, but at the same time, it's kind of annoying because the bots are pretty stupid.
and they give
So
you away, and they
yeah,
also essentially block your entrances at times. It's essentially like having
yeah.
your own paparazzi, but they're
So
a paparazzi of morons.
really, what I would do when I was playing was I would just tell my bots to hide behind a building somewhere and just use them as
And then
extra
just forget
lives.
them. Yeah,
Because when you die, you can take over your
you
other
can,
bots.
exactly.
If you're fast enough in combat, you can actually switch between them on the
Yep,
fly, and
and essentially get
you
the
can,
drop on a enemy.
yeah. So you can kind of do things like that, but
No, it's a
it was
fun game. It's
fun
just the
for like
menu sucks, and I'm not a fan of the free to play stuff. Free to play accurately.
yeah, it was fun playing around with for I don't know, maybe 10, 15 hours, but after that you realize that the game is extremely grindy and there's only so much variety you get through the maps, so I kind of lost interest in it.
I mean, I played it maybe once. No, and I didn't even play it for like 20. I played it for like maybe 2 hours, 5 hours, maybe at most.
One of the reasons that I was kind of drawn to it is because the damage. It's very hardcore in terms of like time to kill and stuff. One bullet from a rifle
Yeah.
will kill you most of the time. So
No,
I really like that aspect of the game.
I was drawn to it because I was just in desperate need of a new World War II shooter that was more or less accurate and realistic to World War II. That filled the bill for a day.
Yeah. Yeah. I guess as I get older, I'm looking more for military combat sims that require you to think strategically about, what you're doing, and if you make the mistake of running out in the open, you shouldn't be moving like 20 miles an hour. It's Yeah, I don't like that kind of gameplay.
You and I should play Arma then.
Oh, I've been playing Hell Let Loose recently.
Yeah, I need to get that. I've heard a lot of good things, and probably really help my World
It
War
can
II
be
lust.
it can be extremely brutal at times because, it's very unforgiving. If you get caught out in the open and the other person can aim at all, you're gonna die. And uh,
Sounds like World War II to me. That's exactly what I
yeah,
want.
yeah. Another thing that I don't like about modern games is like kill cams and um, tracers giving away your position. The whole idea of balance between snipers and stuff is, like snipers are one shot kill to the head at any range, basically, but you can see their sniper scope and, other bullets. If the sniper's camping somewhere and you shoot them, you can hit them with a rifle, 3 or 4 times, they don't die, and they can just headshot you and kill you. I would rather balancing be bullets are deadly at any range. You don't know where people are firing from because their tracers don't give it away. But if you do find where a sniper is, then you just shoot at him and you'll kill him if he gets hit because bullets are deadly.
Yeah, it encourages you to be more observant. And
Yeah, and it's
like
run and
looking, you
gun
can't see the
gameplay is
tracers, but you
not.
can see the muzzle flash, or you can see the scope of the enemy.
Yeah, it's
Something in the
not really
distance moving.
team based. It's all about you running out there and getting as many kills as you can before you die, and I don't know, it gets boring really quick to me. There's no overall goal. Just run out there, get some points, kill some people, feel good about it, rinse, repeat. At the end of the day, it feels empty.
I mean, I told you about my experience with Splitgate,
Yeah,
which is such a like a lot of people are it's Portal meets Halo or whatever. It's not. It's Call of Duty meets Portal with Halo game modes.
yeah,
Like with what's face with Slayer and Capture the Flag and stuff like that. But it's it sucks. Also, the fact that it's pretty much it feels like you're playing a Call of Duty match, but you're the only one that has a portal gun because everyone else is just running around like a headless chicken. And as you can see in the footage, I have footage on screen so people can see that I'm just there, kind of bored, like waiting for enemies to show up because I'm using the portals tactically, but no one else is, so I don't have to be on my guard. I'm just kind of just an apex predator on the map.
yeah. What I really want from a Battlefield game is for the campaigns to have a purpose. Like, have the maps be based on what you do, like how many territories you capture or something like that, where it's not just here's a map, there's some flags, you go cap them, you have a tick count. When the enemy tick count reaches 0, then that map is over, and then you rinse, repeat, next map. I'd rather be like a daily campaign where you have this army versus that army, you choose your side, and then you battle, and then at the end of the day, you get rewarded based on how well your army did, and that's going to be based on how well you operate strategically in the map. Like a longer campaign style where it's not just about one map and getting as many kills as you can.
Yeah, I mean that's honestly that's why I'm more of a PVE guy versus PvP, just because like you're gonna get that with a PVE thing. It's a lot more consistent to get something like that. Whereas with PvP, for the most part, almost every PvP game is just run and gun against an enemy team
Yeah,
or against everyone else in the match, free for all or team deathmatch, player or whatever you want to call it.
I mean, that's not to say that I don't like some good TDM every once in a while, but
No, but it's like it's not. It's not a question of saying it's good or bad. It's kind of just you just don't want that all the time, you know.
yeah,
Like you don't want
I
everything to be
want
that.
more depth.
You want some things to be different. That's why they're that and not this.
Yeah, I want the objectives to mean something because typically in Battlefield, you run to an objective, you capture the flag, and then everybody just runs to the next objective, and then it's just everybody just kind of running around in a circle. When the enemy gets pinned into one spot, then they'll go back cap, and then it's just this, run in here, cap it, run there, cap it. You're killing people in between, you're dying in between, and it's basically just chaos. And I want something that's more organized, more directed, more about capture, secure, hold, then move. Kind of, I guess, kind of like Rush, except more of a from map to map instead of. Uh, I guess the idea and the gameplay behind Rush is just kind of too simplistic. But anyway, that was my overall experience with Battlefield 4. Kind of meh.
I mean 6.
I wanted more in terms of gameplay, but I am going to keep an eye on it, see how it changes, and I'm very interested in seeing what kind of gameplay communities, members, and groups come up with because the amount of tools that EA is going to be giving server operators are, I don't think any game like Battlefield has ever given control like that. So that could be really interesting and fun.
Also, the whole portal thing that they're like the allow you to play older games or something.
Yeah, basically, you're going to have assets from all the games. You're going to have some remade maps from all the older games, and the server owner was going to be able to limit what kind of classes, weapons, everything from the beginning of Battlefield up into right now, like the weapon types and all that. You have access to editing, changing, whatever. So it's going to be interesting to see what people decide they like to play and how that evolves.
Hopefully, it's good. Last Battlefield they released, at least it launched miserably.
I honestly enjoyed Battlefield 1 way more than I enjoyed Battlefield 5.
Battlefield 5, though, you know my personal on it. I don't like it too, but
Yeah,
the
aside from that, just pure gameplay,
yeah,
it I don't know, it felt way too quick. People running around.
it also launched incomplete.
Yeah.
So that's nothing new, unfortunately. Battlefield and AAA gaming as a whole.
Speaking of other Battlefield games, I recently went back and played. I'm blanking on the name. The Cops and Robber version of Battlefield. Um,
Oh, Hardline, right?
yeah, Hardline, and that was a damn good game. I wish it was more populated because I had more fun playing Hardline than I think I had playing Battlefield 5. And the customization options that you had in Hardline, mind-boggling. Boggling. I mean, there's so much that you can do customization-wise. It's a shame that it doesn't get played very much anymore.
Yeah, that was what 2014.
Yeah, something like that. One thing I did notice in the beta was that uh, they seem to be having the same kind of desync issues that Star Citizen's been having recently, where ships just kind of teleport around and jerk and
Yeah, I saw some really
the
wonky
rubber
helicopter
banding.
physics
Yeah.
where it's like a UFO. The helicopter is flying upside down.
But I mean, that's why you have a beta test, so you can see things like that happening.
Yeah, I think just a lot of people are concerned so close to is understand. Speaking of flights, the Halo Infinite had a few flights recently. I didn't get a chance to play them for the same reason I didn't get to play the first flight, which was graphics card issue they had still persistent. Can't if you have a 900 or 1000 series NVIDIA GPU or the AMD equivalent, you will not be able to play Halo Infinite until they fix that glitch.
Is it a driver issue or like a hardware issue?
But I mean, it's affecting both AMD and Intel. It's not.
So maybe it's an architecture issue.
I think it's a game hardware.
Well, I mean, like the hardware is missing some component or ability that newer cards have that's causing problems. I mean, 10 card series are pretty old at this point.
Yeah, in the 900 series as well.
Yeah.
But they're still used by many, and also the fact that if I would love to upgrade, I cannot though. And it's not just because of lack of money. It is even if I had the money, I can't upgrade right now because of the chip shortage. The fact that I have no idea where I'd even be able to get the graphics card I'd want.
Yeah, I totally understand that. It's hard being on the edge of the world in terms of right on the edge of hardware that's obsolete. My PC is getting really close to that point as well, where as things progress, there's just a point where they're just not going to be able to support your stuff because it's just too old, and you're gonna have to upgrade or not play.
I mean, I can still run Star Citizen for now, but I feel like that won't last for long.
Yeah, I mean, they're constantly pushing the bounds of what they can do with current hardware. So eventually, every system that was built 5 or 6 years ago is gonna start having some serious performance issues.
And as I said, I need to upgrade I need to build a new PC.
Yeah.
Upgrade. I need a new motherboard, new graphics card. Ideally, up my RAM again. Instead of being maxed to 32, maybe max it to 128. I'm just drilling at what I can do. But yeah, that's the Battlefield demo. It sounds like it's pretty much just a beta demo. That good thing it's a beta, not the official launch.
Yeah, I mean, I know a lot of people had a good time with it. These days, I'm just expecting something different, and I'm probably not what the majority of
At this point, I'd say you're not the target audience anymore, which is unfortunate. Because it's the same. It's falling into the same issue that Halo and pretty much every big FPS franchise is doing. They're trying to market to the younger, more modern audience, the contemporary audience that plays, your Fortnite, X Legends.
Yep.
That's the bigger crowd. That's the more lucrative crowd, and why they're marketing that. But unfortunately, they're doing it at the cost of their existing players.
Well, that's just the nature of change. Like the younger generation, they grow up and the things that they experience are different than what we experience, so their expectations are different than our expectations.
Right.
And
But I just feel there is a way of doing it. You can have change or you can have evolution. There's a difference.
Well, the alternative, which I mean is really the way to go if you really want something catered to you, is just figure out how to make it and do it.
Yep.
And if you can't, then stop complaining about it. Move on. That's my opinion anyway. Or look for games that do cater to it, like more milsim types like Arma or Squad, Hell Let Loose, that kind of game, and potentially World War III. That looks like an interesting alternative to Battlefield.
If you get it, maybe I'll look into it. We can try it together.
I
I'll probably get my
believe
ass
that it's
handed to me.
supposed to go free to play. I could be wrong, but I heard I watched a YouTube video, someone talking about it, so it might be worth checking out in the future.
The well, I think that new Call of Duty is gonna be any good either, because I haven't played a Call of Duty game in years. I know this is another World War II one, right?
The only Call of Duty that I played was back when Medal of Honor Allied Assault was a big hit. So I think that was like Call of Duty 2, maybe. After that, um, what was Modern Warfare kind of more milsim than arcade? I don't remember when it
I
became
have
like
no idea.
super
The
arcade.
last Call of Duty game I played, the last Call of Duty game I played was Modern Warfare 3.
Okay, so maybe after Modern Warfare 3, it just became like an arcade shooter, and I had no interest in that at all. So I really don't follow Call of Duty.
Nah, again, neither do I. That's why I'm asking. Maybe someone in the chat or comment section. Personally, I'm. It's not that I love World War II shooters, so I'm just curious out of that.
Oh, is it supposed to be World War
I
II?
think it is. Honestly, I can't remember. I mean, we did a trailer reaction here. Cam and I did one, but I don't even. Incredible. It
I
was also
mean,
all cinematic, so it's just pretty much a bullshit trailer.
the last World War II they did was just like a reskin, right? And that,
I think it was literally just called World War II.
yeah, and it was a complete and total reskin of their other game with like different weapons, and it played exactly the same, sounded exactly the same.
And what
But I don't know,
Battlefield's been doing
maybe this
recently
one's
too.
different. Maybe it'll be interesting. I'll have to look at it because I have not. So my answer is I don't know.
Oh, shall we move on to whatever the hell the next topic is? Well,
Sure.
so on the topic of betas and Star Citizen, just you've been in the PTU as well, because I haven't. After CitizenCon, the PTU went live 315 for subscribers and concierge members only. That means I don't get access. You and Cam are both in it.
Yep.
So we got the medical gameplay and the physicalized inventory,
Yeah. So the
loot
biggest
and
change
everything.
is the physicalized inventory, and it is a much bigger change than when they did the weapon rebalance. It feels, I mean, it's way more impactful than the weapon balance pass that they did
Well, the weapon
314.
rebalance, like it sounded like a big change, but in actuality, like you got used to it. I'd say in an hour.
Yeah, but when you get into the game and you're expecting one thing and then everything is completely different, all the weapons that you previous liked operate completely differently, and you have to relearn everything. It feels really bad because I remember, the ships that I used to fly around and do bounty missions in, they didn't.
The Air
It
Hornet.
took forever to do anything. Yeah, it felt frustrating. So there's going to be a whole bunch of that when people get into the inventory because um, you, you take for granted what you're able to do in the game right now, where you can just grab some armor, throw it on, and then you have access to it forever. In 315, you buy your armor, you equip it, you get your weapons, your med pins, you go out, you die, and then it's left out there, assuming it doesn't despawn. And if you can't get back to it, then it's gone, and you have to buy it again. You have to equip it again. Backpacks are going to be a huge thing because the amount of stuff you can carry in just your armor is pretty small. So yeah, it's going to completely change the way the game works. Uh, I I anticipate there's going to be a lot of people complaining about it, but it it does feel way more. Or the choices you make affect the outcome of your gameplay way more. And then the ability for medics to come and pick you up if you get downed is it's going to help a lot because it feels really bad to just die and then you have to respawn back in a hab somewhere. Conversely, it could also feel really bad to get down and then have to wait for 30 minutes for someone to make their way to you, assuming that they choose to. Because right now, when you go down, I think a beacon is automatically created for you, but someone has to decide to accept it and then come rescue you. So eh, we'll have to see how that plays out.
And you have to hope that they don't just come over to you to put a few rounds in your head and take your stuff.
Or just to loot you and leave you, because I mean that they could also do that.
They don't even have to kill you in order to loot you?
I don't think so. No, I think once you go into downstate, then you can be looted. I'm not 100% on that because I've never found somebody in a downstate, nor have I ever had someone come to me in a downstate. I did have someone overdose me though. That was
right, because now there's drugs and alcohol, and they actually affect you in the game. You have animations for it, like your character can walk drunkenly.
Right.
Get
so
buzz and all that.
Right now, someone can come by with their med gun in an armistice zone. You can use them there.
Thank God.
Well, I'm saying an armistice zone. They did it on Everest Harbor, the station above.
Which is armistice zone, at least for
It's
FPS weapons.
But it's a weapons free for ships.
Yes.
You just can't use FPS weapons. So.
But I've seen I think Board Gamer did a video where he and a friend were drugging each other in hospital on Orson. So.
Yeah, so somebody can come by and give you a full injection of a narcotic, and it'll basically put you in an overdose state. You'll stagger around for like 30 seconds and then you'll fall over and you will die in an hour. Somehow my character was able to get back up, and I was already in the hospital because I was buying meds and stuff. So you have to go to a terminal and like log in or whatever, and it'll tell you a room you can go to. So I was able to stagger my way down the hall and get in a med bed, and it fixed me. But there's definitely going to be a lot of trolling with people coming by. However, if someone does that to you, then you have the option to report
you do? Okay.
Doing it in game, and they'll get a crime stat. So it's not like they can get away with it for free, unless you're Grimhex. I'm not sure what happens to them then. Maybe nothing. At Grimhex, I mean, I'm not even sure what
happens if
uncontrolled. Does it even count as a reportable crime? Because there's no authority there. So I'm not sure what'll happen if you do it at Grimhex, but everywhere else, you'll get at, I think, a level 2 crime stat. So not quite enough to get hunted by bounties.
So we're gonna have criminals that are just gonna be like the drug lords in Star Citizen. They're just gonna be guys that come up to you, sneak up, shoot you in the behind with something, and be on their merry way to do it to someone else.
It's going to be very important to make sure you always have a detox pin equipped. So if someone injects you, you can just, take that. And I think it's supposed to be like not an EpiPen, but the other thing in real life that's supposed to help stop an overdose. I don't remember what it's called in game, but it's supposed to serve the same effect, where if you're in an overdose state and you take it, then it'll fix it.
Right now, I'm just getting frustrated by Teespring. Sorry. But yeah, and what about the physicalized inventory stuff? Because we were talking about how the loot boxes game, not the same type of loot boxes, people.
Yeah, so generated
loot crates, we'll call them loot crates.
In like bunker areas that you can go and open up, and they contain weapons, ammo, sometimes helmets. I don't think any of them contain armor or suits, like under.
Yeah, but you can loot those off of the enemies.
Yeah, assuming that you have killed them or whatever.
Right.
But yes, and they also contain.
No, wait. I saw some gameplay. Some guy found a helmet in one.
Yeah, there's some boxes that contain helmets. I'm not sure if there's anything special about them. I don't think so. I think it's just, most of the stuff in there is randomized. Um, there are the ones that I noticed were there were red boxes that generally have like a helmet in them. There are like uh, these kind of flat but wide box chest things that usually have like weapons and ammo, and there's big square boxes that um, have they I think they have like ammo, grenades. I don't remember seeing many weapons in them, but they also have other items in there. I'm not sure what they were. They looked like commodity items, possibly.
Oh, like they looked like consumables, like vegetables and stuff.
Yeah, I'm not sure if you can actually eat them, but yeah, there were some kind of
But you can
consumable
sell
that
them.
I'm assuming that you could sell or trade. Yeah. As far as inventory interface goes, hang on a sec.
Hello? Data.
Yeah, sorry, I got someone in here talking to me.
Oh, good.
So the interface is it definitely needs some work because there's a lot of dragging and dropping. It's really hard to click on certain things like ammo or med pins that you've equipped to your body. And there's no itemized list for things that you have equipped. So the only way to remove them is to try to move the camera around at just the right angle and then click on them and drag them into another inventory window. So that needs to be fixed. I would really like to just see an itemized list of things that you have equipped on your body, on your person. Um, Other than that, uh, the way the inventory window shows you things, it streams the data in, I'm guessing from the database. So it'll only show you things that are in the view of the box. So if you scroll down, it'll unload the things that were there and then stream in the things that you're trying to look at. So it's not very responsive at all. So when you scroll down, everything's a blank box, and then it'll pop in. If you scroll back up to see what you were just looking at, then that has to also get loaded back in. So I hope they fix that. I would rather that just like stream in everything in the inventory box and then store it there until you close the inventory window, because waiting for it to stream in as you're scrolling up and down is really it's irritating because it takes so long.
Also, we got the 400i in game
Yeah,
with
I have not seen
3.15.
it in game yet.
I've seen some tours of it. Obviously, we got the tour in CitizenCon, and
Yeah.
looks nice. I stand by what I said on Monday, that it's pretty much a freelancer competitor, if anything. Everyone's
To
calling
me,
it
it
like
is.
it's a constellation competitor, but like maybe, but it just to me it just reminds me more of a freelancer in terms of what it can do and the crew and like pretty much everything in that regard. Like where
The
it's
way I
more home quality of life stuff like the freelancer compared to the constellation.
the way I look at it is just it's a smaller yacht.
That too.
I mean, that's
I mean, it
basically what it
is.
functions as. Yeah, it's
I mean, it's
a
an
high
origin ship. They're
class
all just
special ship.
yachts
Yeah.
and cruisers.
Yep. I will say there's new missions. I haven't been able to do them yet, but there are medical rescue missions. I'm assuming that they're for NPCs. I haven't tried that yet, but I definitely want to check
I
that
know
out
that,
and
yeah,
see
there's
how it
some
works.
cave ones. Obviously, the bunker missions now that will have the crates that you can loot, which don't stand out. Like you have to actually look for them. They don't stand out like in other games. They honestly are probably crates that were in the level before this patch that they just added functionality to.
Yeah, they definitely look like they belong in the environment.
Um, But there you have friendly NPCs and enemy NPCs, and now you have to make sure the enemy don't kill the friendlies, only kill the enemies. You can can you heal the friendly ones if they go down?
If you if you attack friendly NPCs, you get a crime stat, and then everybody
Well,
tries to kill you. Yeah. I haven't gotten there yet, but once you get your rep of enough, then you can start doing the wave-based defense missions where you go to a bunker, and then there's a countdown that'll start, and then at the end of the countdown, then the spawn closets will spawn bad guys, and you have to take them out. And then I think there's 3 waves, and then your rewards are based on how many friendly NPCs have survived. Though currently, I don't think you can do that mission because there's a bug right now in the PTU where everybody thinks you're a bad guy, including the guys that are supposed to be your friends. So they just kill you on sight. So that needs to get fixed before the bunker missions are really doable again, because the only way to get through them right now is just to kind of, you've got to get into the building so that the mission activates and the NPCs will start doing things, and then hope that the bad guys kill all the good guys so you can kill all the bad guys.
I'm not gonna lie, I kind of want that now though, where it's just you're entering. They say later down the line, obviously, when the reputation system ties in with the NPCs and how they treat you and all that, and you have a mission that you go in. Say it's some pyro gang, another gang, like they're warring gangs. Obviously, they're fighting each other, but you enter the fray, and they try to kill you as well. Like I kind of want that.
Yeah, like a 3-way war.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Like they're still trying to kill each other, but now they have to try to kill you as well. You have to kill all of them, or maybe your job is only to kill one of them, like and help one of the sides win or something.
Honestly, the way it feels right now, you don't want to wear anything that's important to you. It feels like you just want to buy a whole bunch of generic crap, buy like 10 weapons with a bunch of ammo, and keep it in your main base or whatever, and then that's all you use. You don't use anything that's important or that's unique unless you're going to buy multiples of it, because right now in PTU, the chances of you retaining it over multiple play sessions is pretty low.
Which is kind
That's
of
the
what
way
we
it
were
feels anyway.
saying a few weeks ago regarding the whole new inventory. Like you're not going to want anything that's important to you.
Yeah, like your subscriber items, if you lose them, there's no way to get them back. CIG is looking into ways to fix that, but they haven't
I
said
still
one way or
think the
another
best way to
regarding
do that
things.
is like an insurance claim, similar to how ships work, where you just
Yeah, they're investigating different options for that, but currently, the only way to get items back is do a character reset.
which is not ideal.
No, and then once you do a character reset, you're limited. You have to wait for 24 hours before you can do another one. So
Hence why it's not ideal,
yeah.
among other reasons. But
So there's absolutely no reason. This is PTU granted, but there's absolutely
right.
no reason to use any of your sub items because
Also, yeah,
they're
that's
gone.
another thing. This is PTU where you start with an exorbitant amount of credits, and you
That's
have
true.
all
Yeah.
the ships that you don't normally own to try out because it's a public
That
test
is not
universe.
true. In this PTU right now, you only have real money ships, so you don't get
Oh,
any
really?
loaners, and you don't get any of the ships that you owned or bought in game. Well, yeah, because they did the
Wow.
wipe
So then a
but
lot of YouTube channels have just straight up bought 400i just for videos. That's
yeah. So right
I
now, the
want
only
that.
way
I
you have
want that amount of money where you have essentially fuck you money to
yeah,
spend
right
and
now
throw at
you
stuff.
start with like 15 million, and then people who purchase the 400i with real money have access to it in the game, and then everybody in the PTU right now has access to the A2.
Nice. How's the bombing, or have you not tried that?
I have tried it.
Oh,
I haven't tried it this last patch, but previous patch, I dropped one bomb. They fall extremely slow, and the
that's
explosion radius is much larger than you expect. So my second bomb, I don't remember how high I was, but I tried to get closer to the ground so I could watch it as it fell into the ground, and it didn't explode. It hit the ground, and it bounced, and then slid to a stop. It's like, well, that's interesting. So I landed the A2, I got out, I jumped on it, shot it with my little pew pew handgun, didn't do anything. Got back in the A2 and I was like, huh, I wonder what happens if I just drop a bomb while I'm landed. So I did, and it just clunk fell on the ground right underneath the ship.
So did they actually have to arm at a certain distance?
I don't know if it's based on altitude or what. It could be like the server lagged right when the bomb hit the ground,
So
so
it
it
was
didn't
supposed to
detect and
explode,
hit
but it
hard enough or
didn't.
something. I'm not sure. So I was like, I wonder if this thing is still active. So I flew where I thought was enough distance away and shot it with the Hertz guns, and I immediately blew up because explosion damage range is farther out than the effect range, or than the like the explosive effect looks. So
So
even if
the
you're
particle
outside
effects
of
are wait. So you're saying the particle effects are larger or smaller than the AOE?
the particle effect is smaller than the damage radius of the bomb.
Gotcha. Yeah, that's
Yeah,
actually, you know what? That I mean, the shockwave would
it
obviously
makes
extend
sense. Yeah,
further. So
I really hope in the future that they're able to create the effect of, when you see a bomb in real life, like the
yeah,
really big ones, you can see um, the pressure wave come off it
yeah,
in
yeah.
a sphere.
That's the shockwave.
Yeah, I know it's a shockwave, but I really hope that they can
Visualize
simulate that
that.
effect.
Yeah.
Yeah, that would be amazing.
Honestly, the this is gonna be really stupid response, but they can just kind of in MythBusters when they show you the slow motion effect and you see it, like maybe take that but add it in real time, or maybe this way you can actually visually see the shockwave.
Well, since they try to do everything, well, as far as like atmosphere and stuff, they try to make it make sense.
Yeah.
They would have to figure out a way to have the effect play based on the type of atmosphere and the thickness, the pressure and stuff like that. So if it's a really thin or no atmosphere, then you wouldn't see it. If it's really thick, then you would see a bigger one. But
I will say this
I,
from what I've seen of the bombs. Is it just me, or are the explosion effects not like they're present for way too like
the
the dust
effect,
and particle effects that they have for after the boom?
yeah,
Like
the
I feel they
effect
should
needs to
linger.
be tweaked because right now it kind of looks like a it doesn't look like what you would see from a real explosion
No,
on a
because
planet
in a
in
real
an
explosion,
atmosphere. You're kind of get
the
the mushroom cloud effect. You
even
don't
if they
get
don't
any of
have the
that.
mushroom cloud, just in any explosion, you'll have like dust and stuff. It doesn't just settle immediately and dissipate. It
Yeah.
lingers
You
for a bit.
also you also don't have any inertia from the explosion. Like if you see a something explode in real life, if it's moving forward, then the explosion is going to carry some of that momentum. It's not just going to like
It's so you're
blow up
saying right now they
static
have a
on the
static
spot.
effect. It's the explosion isn't
Yeah.
dynamic, where it's like, oh, if the bomb was angled and moved forward, the explosion effect would be arced forward as well.
Right.
Like where you see
Or if
bits
it's a shape
flying in the
charge and it
direction
hits
that the
the
bomb was
ground,
flying in. Yeah,
yeah, you would see the explosion spread out across the ground instead of just turn into like a
that's
cylinder
something
of
about
fire and
all.
smoke.
That's something they have all their explosion effects though right now. Like they're all just
That's true.
static.
Yeah.
So they need to. I think they did
All
say
the
they were working on it, but again, that's not a we need it right now type thing. Plus, it's
yeah.
also tied to the server tick rate and other server issues that are holding them back with everything. As we
I did
learned.
notice that the aim UI does not correctly show you where the bomb's going to go. Like for me, it was just a circle around where the mouse pointer was pointed. In this case, it was like the front of the ship or the center point of your HUD on the ship. So if you changed your angle, even if you're traveling at the same speed in the same direction, then it would change where the circle showed on the ground. So it was completely inaccurate. It didn't show where the bomb was going to land based on your trajectory. It was just showing the circle based on where you were looking on the ground. So that might have gotten changed in this last patch. I assume it's going to get fixed so it actually does show you where the bomb's going to go based on your trajectory. But right now, I don't think there's any really good way to figure out where you're aiming unless you're like falling directly towards the target and you drop it and then pull out, which doesn't make any sense for the A2 because it's a big ship. But
Mhm.
It's still fun to play with.
Yeah, and hopefully they tweak it more and more. I know, we were we were kind of like questioning why do we even have this bombing thing in game, but at the same time,
Yeah.
it's not like yeah, we're in space. Why would we need like gravity bombs? But at the same time, it's fun. It is still a game.
Yeah, I'm willing to suspend my how does that saying go? I can't remember anymore, but I'm willing to suspend my feeling of immersion and things that would make sense in reality for fun and interesting gameplay in this sense. In this instance, I mean, it will be really cool if they add the ability for smaller ships to carry lighter bombs because see a bunch of fighters come in and do bombing runs on targets. That would look awesome. Honestly, with how slow that bomb was dropping, and granted, I was doing this on aerial, so the gravity wasn't super high, but with the speed that bomb is dropping, you could definitely target it and shoot it before it ever got to the ground.
So yeah,
Because
that's 315 then.
when the bomb is dropping, if you're close enough to it, then it has that little triangle spinny thing like missiles
Oh, it does.
do. Yeah,
So at least you can detect them.
yeah, you can see it coming, so you would still be able to log onto it and shoot at it and stuff like that.
Did you get to visit Cousin Crow's or the showcase, the new showroom,
No, I've purposely stayed away from Orson
until
because
the
performance
performance is
there
a
is
little
really
better?
bad, and I didn't want to get stuck there as a landing zone, so I made Hurston my home base just because it's centralized. It's basically Hurston is in the center of the system,
Yeah,
in
it's
between all the other
Stanton one, so
locations. Yeah, so I really haven't done anything except the first thing I did was try to do the bunker missions because I was interested in the FPS combat and looting and trying to work with the inventory system. And the first patch, it was I had a whole bunch of really irritating, frustrating bugs. This latest patch, those went away, but it's still pretty clunky. So they've got a lot of work to do in terms of fixing up the AI so it's more intuitive and it's easier to do what you want to do. And they know this. I think they've talked that they have. I don't remember who it was that was saying this. I think it was a dev. I think that yeah, there was actually a dev in one of the servers I was in. He was saying that they have some really cool things that they've been working on for inventory that they're excited to get to us, but they're not. He's not sure that they're going to make it for 315.
I also know that which ship was it again? The Redeemer and Ares are going to be
The
315X
Aries
patches,
are going to be in
so
a 15x patch.
not going to get that for a while. Also, they added hospitals to obviously all the other locations aside from I think ArcCorp, right?
I don't know. I'm assuming that the space station above our corp has one.
Well, I know on the roadmap, ArcCorp is they're the the hospital on ArcCorp is slated for 316.
Ah, okay. I don't know. I haven't been to our corp, so I don't know if the station that orbits the planet has one or not.
Any new like player status effects aside from the medical gameplay?
Yeah, there's this weird HUD effect that I was getting when I got near an outpost. It looked like an electrical interference, so things on the HUD just kind of glitch. I'm not sure what that was. There was some other people saying that they were experiencing it throughout the game in different places. So I'm not sure what that was supposed to be tied to or what it was supposed to be doing. Other than that, I don't really remember anything else. I did see one of the guard AI put his hands up. I don't know if he ran out of ammo or what happened.
Like, what do you mean he put his hands up? Like, hey, don't go in here, or
Surrendered. Yeah, one of the guards. Like he dropped his gun and was standing there with his hands up in the air. Like he was trying to surrender.
to who?
The enemy AI that were in there, I guess, but I'm pretty sure they would have killed him anyway if I hadn't killed them first. I just thought it was really funny. His buddies are walking around patrolling and he's just standing there with his hands up.
Call him Ralph. Take him with you.
There is the bug, well, not a bug, but the issue where if you set wherever you choose to set as your home, your basic home, all of your ships and vehicles will be automatically attributed to that area.
So if
So
I were to fly in one ship to Port Alsar, I would not be able to spawn my other ships there.
that is correct. And also, if the area that you've chosen as your home base does not have a ground spawning terminal, then you will not have access to any of your ground vehicles either.
At all?
You could probably go somewhere else and claim them. Maybe no, you can't. Like maybe if you went to New Babbage, so you said Orison as your spawn point. I guess you could go like to New
Well, I was
Babbage or
thinking more of even
Kirsten.
ArcCorp, because you can't do that at ArcCorp either.
Yeah. Well, but if ArcCorp doesn't have a hospital, then you won't be able to set that as your home. I don't think. I could be wrong about that.
No, they
Anyway,
said that it'll just automatically bring you to the nearest.
yeah. So I guess to get around that, you could go to a ship terminal somewhere else and claim them. Maybe. I did notice that as soon as you claim a ship, wherever you're at, that ship is already automatically
So it delivers the
attributed to
ship that
that
the
area.
new
Yeah.
ship you're claiming to the
Right. So
location that
instead
you
of
claimed it.
like before, if you claimed something that it would say unknown or just available or whatever, now it'll say it's at whatever station or wherever terminal you claimed it at. So that's something that's completely different.
Mhm.
There's also a bug where if you're in a ship and I think if you surrender, though this happened to me when I just let myself get blown up, and you go to Kleischer, then your ship gets also sent to Kleischer. So when you get out, you have to claim it because you don't have access to it.
That's a ship in prison. Finally, an escape route that's feasible.
Yeah, I thought that was pretty funny. I did experience one really annoying bug where I was in Kleischer. I did the vent mission to get out, and right when I got in the elevator to push the button to get out, the server 30K'd. And when I got back in, none of the merits that I got from doing the mission counted. So I had to do it all over again. That was really annoying. Actually, at that point, I just said, okay, I'm done. And alt F4.
Yeah, I don't think I've ever found any of those freaking generators I'm supposed to restart.
The one that I got previous to that 30K was only like depth 5, so it was really easy to get to. The next mission I got was like depth 12 or something, and I only had like an hour, so if I'd gone all the way down there, that probably would have cleared like a 5-hour sentence. Like, there's no way I'm gonna go all the way down there to clear that and come all the way back up. By the time I did that, I'd probably only have like 20
No,
minutes left. So
if you were bundles of sticks in our Discord server, then you would have done it because you would have had a 48-hour prison sentence.
yeah, yeah, that's true.
I don't know how he does it.
He just does bad things over and over and over again.
Yes, but consistently with no. Anyway, that's what will happen. from experience.
Yeah, being criminal is gonna be even harder now, I think, because chances of you getting killed outside of your ship are pretty small, I think. So when you do blow up, it's gonna be in your ship, so anything you had equipped on you is just gonna, go bye-bye. It definitely means they're gonna have to be spending a lot of money on equipment, probably, unless they're just gonna fly around in ships and try to harass people.
I think there's also just not enough gameplay for criminals right now. Like I get, like yeah, you can steal from people like other players and stuff, but like in terms of it's all PvP. There's no PvE criminal.
There's definitely gonna be
At least
that
there's very
money
little
sink,
of it.
because anytime that you die and you're unrecoverable, you're gonna have to buy at least, I think you have to buy a flight suit, and at the very least, you have to buy a helmet. I think they might give you a flight suit when you wake up, but you're always gonna have to buy a helmet.
I'm gonna have to buy like shit here.
Well,
Essentially,
you
I'm gonna
say
have to
that,
recreate
but
my entire.
there is limited storage at your main home base area. Granted, it's a lot, but it is limited.
Limited by like what? How much?
Um, let's see. With all my sub items and stuff, I think I'm using like 30% of it. So that's like 5 or 6 suits of armor, maybe 5 or 6 undersuits, and a handful of weapons of various types.
In other words, my thousands of weapons that I currently have would not be feasible
Yeah, not gonna happen, I don't think.
unless I spread it across
Yeah, you could definitely do that.
different locations. I mean, the whole point of like my plan for that was okay. This way, I can store them somewhere. Have a out like a shipping container full of guns.
I did notice
Like in
that.
the movie Red, where they open the shipping container, like RPGs, AKs, stuff like
Yeah,
all over, lining the wall.
I
Grenade
did notice
launchers,
that
assault
when I was
rifles.
on Lorville and at Everest Harbor, I still had access to the same inventory pool. So, like, as long as you're on the station or on the ground on the
Really?
surface in the area, then it still counts as one inventory location. I don't know if that works the same way on all the other areas, but I assume it probably would. I'm not sure it's supposed to function that way, but right now it does.
Yeah, I don't think so either.
I kind of hope they do that though, just for the convenience, because I
Like if you're
noticed
in
that
orbit.
when I got out of Lorville and just flew up into space, I immediately went to a bunker mission and died. And instead of spawning back in Lorville in the hospital, it put me up at the space station in the medical ward. Or maybe there isn't a hospital on Hurston.
Oh,
Now
right.
I
I
don't.
think. You know what? Let's
I
check.
don't
Do I have a
remember now
tab
whether there
open?
was
Oh, I'll
one.
make one. Go to roadmap.
No, I
Area
don't think
18
there is.
hospital is going to be 316. Um, Lorville Hospital's 317.
Yeah, okay, so that's why it's put me in the space station. So that might not be the way it works if you're at New Babbage or
No, New
Orson.
Babbage, you're going to have the New Babbage Hospital.
Yeah,
Don't remember what it's called. Obviously, Orson has a hospital as well.
which also means that you might not share inventory between like the surface and the space station.
Right. Yeah, I'm planning to use Area You're saying all I need to do though is just claim my ground vehicles at a location that I will probably use often to spawn them.
Yeah, I'm assuming that's the way it would work because, as soon as you claim something, then it says it's where you're at. So
Makes sense. I mean, ideally, I'd love to be able to spawn my character and like again give me like an option to spawn the rover already in there.
yeah, well, it's definitely a bug with the vehicles being attributed to places where you can't spawn them. So I don't know how they're gonna address that in the future, but eventually they have said that they want you to be able to spawn your main ship with vehicles on the inside just starting out with. So we'll just have to wait and see how that evolves. I I really can't wait until they get like full persistence in, so we don't have to worry about 30Ks anymore because it's really frustrating to go through a mission, loot a bunch of stuff, take all the time to carry it into your ship, and then 30K, and then all that time wasted.
Right, because now you lost the ship and the loot.
Yep, that happened to me at least twice.
You've been telling me you a lot of rage quitting.
Actually, this last playthrough, uh, the last time I played on this patch, I rage quit because the NPCs are killing you, and I tried to sneak into a bunker, and there was an NPC that somehow got behind me, and I didn't see him. And there's a whole bunch of lag associated with the NPCs. So in some cases, you can walk past them and they won't react to you because the server's tick rate is so slow. It's like turrets trying to shoot at you. They can't track where you're actually at because it just can't keep up with it. But that lag also has another effect where if they start shooting at you, they can be hitting you even after you get into cover because the server still thinks you're at one particular point. So,
Yep, just like how
and it,
sometimes you'll see an NPC with the gun on their back and they're holding nothing. They're firing from a visible gun in their hand.
yeah,
Oh,
so the
and they're shooting
NPCs,
you when their back is turned.
yeah, so the NPCs started shooting me. In this case, he was pointing at me, but I ducked down below a wall and his bullets were hitting the wall, but I still took enough damage to put me in a down state. And nobody was going to come get me because it was a security bunker. So like, well, all this stuff that I collected is now gone. So I alt F4'd that too. I was like, okay, I'm done. I need a break. It does feel pretty punishing when you get killed right now.
I just can't wait to
But to
actually
be
play
fair,
with people when with the new mechanics once they go into
yeah,
the live build.
that was my fault for going in there knowing that the NPCs were all going to be hostile towards me. And I made that choice. So I'm not saying that CIG needs to do something about the gameplay. It's just I made a choice and it bit me in the ass, and I was frustrated by it. But I mean that's gameplay. That's the way it's supposed to be. You have choices to make. Sometimes you're gonna try to take risks, and those risks are not gonna pay out, and bad things are gonna happen to you. So that's part of what Star Citizen is supposed to be. They're designing it to be that way.
Yeah, it's your decisions have consequences. Supposed to be,
Yeah.
but more so than other RPGs come out as. Yeah,
I'm just really looking for the time when the consequences are not bugs.
right. Where they're not something of your choosing.
Right.
Because at the
It's
moment you are suffering the consequences of realities that are beyond your control. Understanding. Um, any mining improvements, or because I know
I don't
they've
know.
done
I
some
didn't try
trading
any mining.
improvements.
I have heard that they fixed trading, but I don't currently have any ships that are capable of doing. Um, large scale trading runs. Actually, I guess I got the freelancer max, but you know that's not like large scale. You're gonna make tons of
No,
money because you're
that's, I would
spending tons
say
of
that's
money.
small scale. Like that's the professional solo
Yeah,
trader
that's
merchant.
the kind of the ship you want to carry. Low quantity, high value, not
Yeah,
high quantity, low value.
not
But
a
anyway, no, I haven't
caterpillar
tested.
or freaking really any other ship.
Yeah, I mean like Quantanium, it's fine for hauling Quantanium from
Yeah.
point to point. I haven't done any trading or any mining currently in PTU, so I don't know how they function. I did notice that there are some HUD improvements, or HUD is probably not the right word. Some building blocks UI improvements
For what?
to like the door panels on
Oh,
Lorville. They were much more readable. Like the text was larger, so it's you didn't have to. It
Quint.
wasn't as hard to like see what floor you were selecting and stuff like that.
All right, that's good because it means they're switching
Yeah,
everything from Flash to building block. You can
yeah,
actually
and they're
control and
actively
literally on the fly change things, fit whatever they need.
yeah, they're actively working to make things more readable and more accessible. So that's kind of cool to see.
Did they change the ship spawning terminals yet, or no? Because those were supposed to be building blocks as well.
I'm not sure. I couldn't tell the difference in like the way they looked. They could have just copied the template over or reproduced it. So I'm not sure if they have or not. But I mean, they said that they were going to do it, and I'm pretty sure they were talking about being through 15. So it wouldn't surprise me if they have. There's nothing else that I can really think of that's different in PTU at the moment.
Lastly, we got that Avengers stuff.
I'll let you take this one.
Yeah, this is so pretty much for anyone who doesn't know, the Marvel Avengers game. It's, I mean, this was kind of a dumpster fire from the get go, but more more gasoline has been poured over the fire as of late, with an update that essentially adds a pay to win mechanics into the game. So this is something that goes against what they advertised in at E3 2000 and I want to say 18, might have been 17, I think it was 19. But at the E3 panel, where like we're not going to have any randomly generated anythings and blah blah blah. But now they have more. And this game has already had some pretty egregious macro transactions. I remember when I was playing it on release, they had a $15 skin for Iron Man. $15 for a fucking skin. Which sucked because I was like, oh, this is a cool skin. Looks more like comic book Iron Man. But nope, it's $15. So this game is always pretty macrotransactions heavy, but now they're going even further. They're making it so this way you can pay to win by having XP boosters and stuff like that. On a Ubisoft here. So you can purchase boosts capable of temporarily increasing experience or magnifying the number of resources collected while completing missions, defeating enemies, and exploring the map. The studio had previously sworn off paid consumables related to gameplay, only allowing macrotransactions for accessories, alternate colors, new costumes, and cosmetic improvements. Developers have since turned their backs on this promise, much to the chagrin of fans. Marvel's Avengers wasn't a knockout in the first place, but letting users pay to win is definitely straying the line, according to the article. But Honestly, this is just reminding me of pretty much every Ubisoft multiplayer looter shooter that's come out in recent years, and Fallout 76. None of those are good. Because Fallout 76 did the exact same thing. They promised, the moon and back with, well, we're not going to do XYZ with microtransactions, macrotransactions, they should be called. We're not going to have, it's going to be only cosmetic. We're not going to do anything gameplay related, no game altering stuff that you can buy. And then they completely turn around and do that. So it's the same thing. Also, Fallout 76 still has that monthly subscription bull. I don't know why. But yeah, so apparently Crystal Dynamics, the developer this developing studio that makes Avengers, opted for XP and resource boosts in line with the game's Xbox Game Pass release in March. Developers reworked the speed in which players are able to level up, which is a few months ago they pretty much put roadblocks and made the grind even longer, and it is a grind. I played this game at launch for like maybe 2 weeks. I had a free trial for Xbox Game Pass, and I used to play this game. The free 2-week, 14-day free trial. Yeah, I wish I can get those days back. Game sucks. But and look, and I'm sure people do enjoy it, and if you do, that's great. I feel bad for you because the game keeps getting worse and worse, and you have no control over that. Although, if you're paying actual money for it, then you do have control, in which stop giving them money. If you bought the game, you shouldn't have to pay more. Because this is a $60 game. Obviously, the PlayStation players are going to have Spider-Man at some point later, which means that everyone else paid the same price for less. Yeah, it's whatever. Just they increased the grind, and now they're increasing it even further, so that you have to pay. Essentially, it's let's create a problem, and then sell you the solution. That's pretty much what this is. And as I said, it's the same thing as Fallout 76, the same thing as Anthem, the same thing as The Division or Ghost Recon Breakpoint, the same type of stuff, Division 2, where it's like you have these looter shooters or looter brawlers that they make it a grind to do anything, and they sell you the solution. They sell you the problem solved. When the problem itself is the design. They designed it to be a problem so that they can sell it to you in a broken state and then sell you the. And that is why we don't like live service models. I'm sure Halo Infinite's already confirmed to have XP boosts. If the flights are anything to go by, they're going to be $1. So yeah, that's the Avengers stuff. Backtracked. And that's really the story there. It's unfortunate. Okay, yeah, it was 2019.
Yeah, it makes you wonder whether they planned it all along,
Oh,
or
they
they just
totally.
weren't making enough money off of sales. Or
I
whatever,
think
so
it was
they
in this specific case, it was probably, I want to say both, but it might have just been the latter. Whereas, like in 76, I would say, oh, it was totally planned. Because it's like, oh, once the reviews are out, then we add in the gameplay paywalls. Oh, same thing with all these other games. Ubisoft does it all the damn time. With their XP boosts and stuff. They even have XP boosts in their single player games, like Assassin's Creed. What the hell's the Greek one?
I don't
Odyssey.
remember.
Assassin's Creed Odyssey has XP boosters as well. not just their multiplayer games. But yeah, I would say it's probably a lot of games do plan it, where it's like, okay, we have a game, the reviews are out, and then after the reviews are out, they add all this stuff in. This way, it's not in the reviews.
Yeah.
And that's what's annoying these days, is that if you're going to review a game, you might as well review it 2 years after launch, because that's when the game's essentially finished. You know, like, I was talking to someone about Halo Infinite recently, and they're like, they're planning to do a Halo Infinite review, and I'm like, then might as well wait 2 years, because the game's releasing unfinished. It's literally going to have major game modes not in the game at launch. And of course, they're going to probably be very light on the macro transactions at launch, and then they're going to go heavier into them later.
And it's hard for me to take mainstream game reviews seriously anyway. I don't really trust that they're reporting the way the game actually is versus.
Well, I was talking to like people like us that are going to be reviewing games, not like IGN or something. I don't even know anyone at IGN. I do know one guy bounding into comics, though. They don't do a lot of gaming. But yeah, the whole Avengers thing, like, yeah, this was a very, at best, meh game. I mean, the story was kind of garbage. The gameplay is actually the worst part of the game. It's like, here, let's simplify a brawler to the point of just pain, just to its detriment. It is simple. The gameplay is just simple to its detriment. Because obviously it's an Avengers game. It's a big IP. It's super popular right now. And that's why they had to simplify the gameplay, because obviously you're not going to have just the schmucks like us that are playing games all the damn time. You're going to have your average moviegoers and stuff probably getting the game. But to me, that's just a horrible, like, oh, that's why we had to simplify the gameplay. Like, no, just make the gameplay the way you want it. If it's a good game, then it'll stand on its own merits. And if it isn't, then, well, we're already seeing what happens when it isn't. And as I said, like, the macrotransactions in the game, $15 for a skin. And that was one of the base level ones. I think I saw one for up to like $27. I'm going off memory, so I apologize, but I have that Iron Man one was definitely $15. $14.99.
Yeah.
I remember because it was the classic red and gold armor from the comics, except with a new in the art style of the game, and it looked great. But it was again $15. Or 1,500 points or whatever. And the leveling up system is just the game sucks. Like, and I don't mean to be that like oversimplify or anything. I just don't feel like going into an hour rant. Like, it's a very bad game. If I were if I had to recommend this game to someone, I would say no. I wouldn't recommend it to you because it is a bad game. Actually, I can tell you what I did after I first played it. I immediately did a X-Men Origins Wolverine Uncaged Edition stream because I needed a palate cleanser. That is how bad this game is. It made me want to play other superhero games that are better. So, yeah, that's... And again, the whole thing that they're doing with Sony and how like they have the Spider-Man thing where if you're getting this on PS4 or PS5, you're going to be able to play Spider-Man where everyone else won't. And again, this is an online PvE game. It's a looter brawler. You're going to have players probably on Xbox or PC. Actually, is there crossplay? I think there's crossplay. Yes, there is. I think. But essentially, if you have crossplay on, you're going to be playing with PS4 or PS5 players, and you're going to see them running around as Spider-Man. You're like, why can't I play as Spider-Man? because you paid for a lesser product, even though it was the same price as the guy that paid on the PS4 and PS5 consoles. So, in other words, this is just a really bad game. We all saw it coming in terms of how bad it was, but it just seems to be getting worse. It's the new Fallout 76 of the modern year. 2018 and 19 and the beginning of 2020 were all about Fallout 76 and how miserably awful that was. Yeah, now it's Avengers. I mean, a few months ago they had the IP address on the screen. PS5 users, if they were playing, their IP address would be at I believe, the bottom or top of their screen. And if you're streaming, visible on the screen. So, and this is why we're very skeptical of pretty much any game that the AAA gaming industry makes, because they're all just the same garbage with a different coat of paint at this point. Monetization, the loot boxes, and gambling, and just the abysmal minimum viable products. It gets patched in later. Like, I know that No Man's Sky has apparently been very successful now because of how they've been handling it. But I'm just trying to imagine how would that game have fared if it launched in the state that it is. Like, if it launched today in the state that it is today. Yeah, apparently companies don't believe in making a finished product anymore. Get a game in piecemeal and drip-fed content.
Yeah, they're out to milk you.
Right, and all the while you're being nickel and dimed for pretty much every aspect of the game. Cosmetics, experience, points, whatever. I know Halo Infinite, they got rid of XP in Halo. Like, you're not going to be earning XP from matches and stuff. You have to earn it through challenges and obviously buying XP boosts. Which again are like a limited time thing. Like, you buy it and it lasts for like 30 minutes or something. And that's totally done on that. Again, it's designed purposely that way. Like, that's the thing, is like, it's like, I know many people, like with Halo Infinite at least, it's free to play. Like, oh, so they need to monetize it somehow, right? It's like, yeah, but it's not. This isn't a game that's free to play and then they go, oh crap, we need to monetize it somehow, otherwise we don't make a dime. It's, no, we're designing a game to be free to play so that we can monetize and nickel and dime the players, as opposed to just making a finished product and then selling it for $60. Or however, $40, $20, whatever it is. The Avengers game is kind of whatever. I mean, everyone, like, every article I've seen for the last week is talking about, will the Avengers find long tail success or on Game Pass, or is the Avengers going to find any success? Like, all these similarly titled articles about how the Avengers game is failing, and then asking, will it continue to fail or will it actually find a stone to secure itself on? I think it's going to keep failing because just of how the game is designed. They would have to, at least in my opinion, they'd have to completely overhaul the gameplay in order to make it fun. And then obviously you have the progression system, which is completely tied to the monetization and is just really, really boring. And that's kind of the game in a nutshell. It's bad, it's boring, and very, very creatively bankrupt. Also, we got what was it? The Hitman. So last week we talked about how Hitman was Hitman was on GOG, and then people review bombed it because in order to play Hitman, you have to be connected to the IO Interactive servers, and which I went on a rant on because it's stupid. But GOG removed Hitman because of the online requirements that the game has, because it doesn't fit with GOG's whole DRM-free store. So GOG has taken Hitman Game of the Year, which is, by the way, it is a really fun game. I do recommend you play it because it's a lot of fun. Some good challenges. My favorite is the escalation missions. But they've taken it down from the online store following criticism that some parts cannot be accessed without an online connection. And I should say most parts. I mean, again, the only thing you can do in the game offline is the main campaign. And yeah, sure, that's fine, except any progress you make will not count because you're not connected online. So you can't actually do anything in the game unless you're to the IO Interactive server. In a post on the forum site, GOG team member apologized for releasing the game with those requirements and said it was still discussing further options with Hitman developer IO Interactive, saying, "We're still in dialogue with IO Interactive about this release. Today we have removed Hitman Game of the Year edition from GOG's catalog. We shouldn't have released it in its current form, as you've pointed out. We'd like to apologize for the confusion and anger generated by this situation. We've let you down, and we'd like to thank you for bringing this topic to us. While it was honest to the bone, it shows how passionate you are towards GOG. The game was released on the store last month. So pretty much, it's not on the store anymore. So, but it is interesting. I want to know more about these talks. If they actually get IO Interactive to make it DRM free, and so you can actually play the entire game offline and progress offline, play escalation missions offline, that'll be great. And again, it is a fun game. It's just the online connection. It does hinder the experience a bit because it makes load times, like loading into missions, a lot slower because you're relying on the server connection and not your hardware speed. You're also limited because sometimes you'll be disconnected and you have to reconnect, and if you're disconnected mid-game, you're going to essentially have to restart the entire mission because you disconnected. You have to reconnect. Sends you back into the main menu. So
it'd be interesting to know why they need you to be connected in the first place.
Yeah, because it's not like something like Star Citizen where it needs to be connected. Like, this game could easily have been, because the only thing that would need servers.
Well, I'm saying that we don't really know. I mean, maybe they're using technology that's
maybe
easier for them to control via server, like the way missions play out.
I know that there are player created contracts in the game that obviously would need to be connected to the servers, but aside from that, the escalation missions, the main campaign, pretty much everything, you wouldn't need to be connected to a server. At least from my, how many years has Hitman been out now? I've been playing. I only got it in 2018, so I've been playing it since then consistently. The game is essentially just a regular, like any other Hitman, any other stealth game. You don't need it shouldn't need to be connected online to play any of the game modes aside from player created contracts.
This is the latest one that they release new missions like every month or so, right?
No, this is just Hitman 1, no subtitle, Game of the Year edition.
Okay.
So this is the first Hitman from 2016. All the Hitman games that IO Interactive have made since 2016 require you to be online to play all these game modes.
Yeah, so it'd be interested to figure out why exactly they require it to begin with.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if it doesn't come back on GOG's catalog just because they somehow doubt IO Interactive would say, no, you can't play this game offline because it, whatever reason it is.
I mean, it sounds like it could just be their form of DRM.
That's yeah. Like I'm trying to think, like in terms, obviously elusive targets. Those are like, if it wasn't constantly connected online, they would essentially have to you'd have a update for the game to download the new elusive target. So I can understand the elusive targets also being off online, but those are, I think, at least once a month, or at most once a month or something. So it's like honestly, and I honestly like the elusive targets are fun, but I prefer the escalation missions. There's more replayability there, as are the main campaign. Although the elusive targets, what makes them the elusive target mode is that you don't know who the target is. Like you have to find the target in the map, which is fun.
Like figure out who they are.
Like you get hints throughout the mission from Diana saying like 47, the target is in the dress or whatever. Like frequently go to the stand over here, blah blah blah, and then you eventually piece it together. I think in Hitman 2, they had an elusive target where you did know who the target was, but there were two of them. They had
a double.
They had a double, so that you had to make sure you killed the right one, and you get the same type of hints that you normally get. So it's like, okay, the target is doing this and this and that, as opposed to what the double was doing, or sometimes it was the double you had to kill, and not the actual target. But yeah, again, Hitman is a really fun game. The new ones are phenomenal. I recently downloaded Hitman 2 for the first time because apparently the first mission in the game is free. So I just downloaded that. It means I only have that one map, but I can play the escalation missions on that map. I can play all the player-created contracts on that map. And I can play the elusive targets on that map if there are, if they were still doing that for Hitman 2. It's cool because it also has the first map from Hitman 1 in it, because it has all the Hitman 1 maps in Hitman. But again, it's just the whole being connected online thing. I just don't see why it should. Especially since, again, a lot of these, like, you play the game offline, you play the game online. Like, I've played both online and offline for the same mission, like one of the campaign missions, and it's identical. The only difference is when you're online, you actually make progress, you can complete challenges and reap the rewards. Whereas when you're playing offline, no ratings, no XP, no leveling up, no rewards, no challenges. It's essentially like a practice mode. And it's not like something's different in the map or the AI or anything when you're online, offline. It's all the same. So I don't see why they need to be on. More Hitman news. Hitman 3 apparently is driving a record-breaking year for IO Interactive because it released, I want to say, in March. It was on the Epic Game Store first. I wonder if it's still on the actually I don't have the Epic Game Store, so I can't tell, but I can search Steam and see if it's there. Okay, Hitman 3 is not on Steam yet. It's still only on the Epic Game Store if you're on PC. But they made a lot of money from it. Made how much? Wow, 78 for the year ending March 31st, 2020. company reported revenues of DDK 502 million, so $78 million, which is a 136% increase of the $33 million made the year prior. Part of that, the studio made a profit of $42 million compared to the profit of $1.8 million during the same period of 2020. And it was largely generated by Hitman 3. And I said March, didn't I? January. Which earned 300% of the game's initial sales budget, something the studio told Game Industry. That's right. IO Interactive, after Hitman 3, I think they announced that they're working on Project 007, which they're making a James Bond game. Other than its existence, we have no details. But I mean, IO Interactive, again, the Hitman games are a blast. So, and James Bond game in the same or similar style would be really great.
Yeah, it makes me wonder what kind of story they're going to follow. They're going to
That's
follow,
that's my
new
main
James
concern.
Bond,
Like, what's the story going to be? Like, is it going to? Because again, the gameplay for Hitman is mostly stealth. Like, you can go guns blazing, and it is actually fun when you do that. But it's primarily a stealth game. You're meant to learn the patterns and then exploit them. My James Bond game would definitely be. I mean, it's kind of guaranteed to be better than any of the Daniel Craig stuff that's coming. Both games and movies.
No, I like Casino Royale.
It's the only one I've seen, and I didn't. It felt too edgy, like it was trying to be Jason Bourne.
I don't know. Personally, I liked the edginess over the quirky.
Silliness.
Yeah, I did not care for the silly factor at all.
I don't know. To me, that was always kind of part of like Bond. You know, Bond wasn't really supposed to be too serious. I mean, they did do more serious Bond stuff with Timothy Dalton, but even then, they knew how to have a. Daniel Craig just constantly looks miserable as Bond.
I don't know. So, I mean, to me, someone who kills people all the time would probably be pretty miserable. But that's kind of that disconnect between um, the story that they're trying to portray and the actions that the character is taking, right? I think we've talked about this a little bit.
Yeah, it's
It's
also
like,
like, are we talking about? Again, it's I don't know. Just to me, Bond was never really supposed to be like ultra serious, ultra dark and gritty, and Bond was supposed to be lighthearted and yeah, it can be serious, but it wasn't supposed to be that level of serious. It wasn't supposed to be like a Jason. Grit. That's what Jason Bourne was for. I haven't seen the new one. Never planned to. On that, heard some really bad.
yeah, I haven't heard anything. If it ever comes out on Netflix, I'll probably watch it just because.
They have any of the Bonds on Netflix right now?
No, they do not.
No, I think Hulu has
Actually,
some
I'm
of
not
the.
sure they ever have, but
No, I think I remember seeing them having Tomorrow Never Dies at one point, but then again, last time I checked Netflix was 5 months ago. I know Hulu currently has Doctor No, Goldfinger, The Spy Who Loved Me, and all the Daniel Craig ones. The last James Bond game I played was Everything or Nothing on the PS2.
Did that play the same as like Nightfire?
I think so.
Okay.
It
Yeah, I
played
didn't really
similar.
care
It
for
was
those.
part of that, like I guess that little trilogy where you had Nightfire, which was fantastic, and the Agent Under Fire, Everything or Nothing.
Yeah, I didn't care for any of those games because the bullets were so slow. It broke my immersion completely.
Then you had GoldenEye, obviously. I think the Golden.
Yeah.
I played a GoldenEye
GoldenEye, and
remake a few years
there was
ago.
the other one that they made for N64, which it was different, but I still had a lot of fun with it. I forget what it was called though. It was by a different game company, and it was using a different engine.
I know there was a GoldenEye remake years ago that I played. That was.
Was it as good as GoldenEye?
Mm. It was like, if I remember correctly, it was kind of a beta. Like it was a fan made remake beta. I was kind of testing it. Not quite yet.
Oh, so
I
it
haven't
wasn't
followed
like
it
a
since.
legit.
No, no.
Okay. Oh, okay. So the other game for N64 was The World Is Not Enough.
They made a World's Not Enough game.
Mm-hmm. For N64, yeah.
That was actually a good Bond film.
EA made it.
Well, they technically made all the Bond games.
Did they make GoldenEye? I thought Rare made GoldenEye.
I mean, they were the publisher, I think.
Hmm.
Checking that.
Anyway, that game was different, but it was still pretty fun.
Um, no, yeah, you're right. It's Rare. I think it was after GoldenEye. Pretty much, EA got the
Yeah.
everything. Yeah, World's Not Enough and Electronic Arts. I miss good Bond games. I'm still struggling with. Covered the Hitman, Battlefield. I think that's kind of it in Star Citizen.
Yep, I think that's all we
Unless
talked about.
something new broke out, which we would have no information. Broke. Yeah, I think that's going to be it for today. Stay tuned for Sunday's show. On insert name here, we're going to be covering the new Ghost Rider, who is the bestest ever, according to this article. We'll go into it and rip it apart on Sunday. Obviously, we got Superman being super gay or super bi or whatever. And yeah, so stay tuned for that on Sunday, 6 p.m. Eastern, October 17th. That's really it. I was going to show off the new Teespring merch of it, but I'm still having difficulties actually uploading it. Or to show it to you right now, you're just going to have a loading screen. think that's gonna be it for now. If you guys enjoyed, found it. Yeah,
See you next time.
We did, yeah. Now, if you guys know the whole YouTube sharing, subscribing, and all that, and obviously, I mentioned Teespring, link in the description. It'll be up there hopefully by tonight. New entire line of accessories. Thanks for watching.